Hello, hello, hello. I'm Andrea Stevens,
And I'm Jeannette, and we are Webs Women.
where exposure brings strength. Welcome to episode 63.
Yes. Great morning. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I didn't know it was Wednesday, I have to say.
You must be having a really adventurous life, not to know what days of the week it is.
I know. I got sidetracked. I had to
Okay.
stay in Niagara Falls for an extra day. I didn't
Yeah.
feel well. And so I came back I thought it was Monday yesterday. And
Oh,
then this
yeah. So
morning,
you're off
yeah,
track a little bit. Yeah.
I'm way off track. And then I woke up and I was like, what day is it? What day is it? And then I said, oh, crap. Like it's chapel day. That's how I know it's Wednesday, right? So my son has to wear a white button down shirt. And I'm like, is it clean? Are they clean? Like it's Wednesday. It's not Tuesday, right? So I have to get out the
Oh my
tie and the
God.
button down. And yeah. And then I was like, oh, it's Wednesday. It's podcast day. First, it's chapel day in my head. And then it's podcast day. Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are, last Wednesday of the month, because
It is? No.
yes, it is. It's the last Wednesday of the month.
Are you sure?
Is it?
I'm going to the calendar.
Oh no, it's not.
It's not the 30th. It's next week.
Oh, see, now I'm ahead of myself. I'm thinking that's it. I'm a week ahead. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm behind.
Well,
you're
we still-
ahead.
Yeah,
Hey.
there you go. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Daylight savings. Blame it on daylight savings. That's what I do.
Are they going to nix that? That's what they're looking at. Are they going to do that?
Supposedly
I
they're
hope.
looking to get rid of that. If they do, obviously won't be till next year. So
Well, I hope so.
I think so. That needs to go away. I want to say we're the only state that does that. Oh, I could be wrong. I don't know, but it would be nice.
No, everybody does it except for Arizona. Arizona doesn't. So for 10 years, I had like a wonderful time not having to change my clocks.
Yeah.
But everybody else did. So every time I call somebody, it was like, well, what time is it now?
Right.
Because everybody else changed except for us. So yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable, I will say. So I will look forward to that happening again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So what else is going on? What's happening?
What's not happening is really the question, right? I kind of feel like everything always happens all the time, like simultaneously. So
Yeah.
things are moving along and busy with work stuff and everything else, right? I took a day off yesterday, actually.
What did you do?
Then nothing. Absolutely
Nice.
nothing. Yeah, but I don't want to say nothing, but I took the day off, but I had to go, it was more like errands and stuff, like just situating things that I can't get to. Because I don't want my Saturdays, my weekends to be about that. I want it to be about, enjoying my time with my family. Usually I leave the weekends to, do so many different things and it takes me away from the family. So just trying to play catch up, but then, you open up your email and you open up to chaos. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I take off? This is like not right, but whatever. It is what it is. That's just the ebbs and flows of how life works. So,
Yeah. It is. The ebbs and
Yeah.
flows. The ebbs and flows. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So So yesterday I'm gonna talk about this because yesterday, last night, actually, I was having a conversation with a friend. And we were talking about change. You know what I mean? Like the ebbs and flows. That's where, it went for me when you said the ebbs and flows. The ebbs and flows, we were talking about mostly like the ebbs and flows, like through life, right? And situations that happen and how it changes you and how the people around you that you think are there to support you sometimes aren't, or the change there, right? The ebbs and flows and change of the people that are around you during different situations. We are talking about support systems and just people in general and knowing and going through emotional things. Right. And so I mean, for some that are listening to this, it's a secret. For some it's not, but like I'm going through a divorce, right? And
Wait a minute.
I wasn't expecting to say that on this podcast.
Wait a minute. Back up, girl. You just don't casually get into a conversation and casually
I
say, oh, by the
know.
way, I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm getting a divorce.
Well, I mean,
Back it
you
up.
know, I mean,
Back
it's
that up.
some people know, some people don't. I mean, like
Okay,
it
so
is
now
what it
everybody
is,
knows.
right? Now
Okay.
everybody knows. Yeah. But there's changes, right, that occur. You know,
When
there's
you
changes that are
when you are going through a divorce, or
I mean,
you're
I can
talking
go through a
about
whole episode on divorce. Okay. Like there's a whole chapter in my book about it. I talk about it. I talk about the process of it. My parents went through it. I felt like I was in the middle of it, even though they didn't think I thought that. I did feel that. There was a lot there. So I could go on and talk divorce and have a whole episode for a
all
long
right,
time.
so we'll have to save
Think
that
about
for
that.
another day,
Yeah.
another recording.
Yeah. But there's changes that occur, I think, in life in general, not just like that's what I'm going through right now, right? That's my present. I also went through a lot of change when I left my hometown back when I was 29 years old and said, I'm going to move across the country to a state where I know one person. And that one person was in a relationship. So my thoughts, like moving there, was that I was going to have that friend there all the time with me, right? I wasn't going to be alone. And really, I was alone, like when I moved there. So I was alone. I had no family and friends, right, that I was used to for 29 years. And the friend that was there was busy, right, working and their own life. So I was really on my own. So I went through a lot at 29 years old with my emotionally, with my self mastery, and trying to figure out, okay, how is this going? You know, what is going to happen here, right? And so, but the ebbs and flows there, it took a long time. It took me about a year, I think, to really process like the friends that I had growing up, those friends that are that close, I'm going to have different friends, and they're going to be in a different, let's put it, category, right? I'll have the going out friend. Those are the people that just really want to go out all the time. I'll have a friend that I'm just going to probably go to the movies with once in a while. I'll have a friend that the work friends, right? That will do stuff outside of, maybe we'll go to the bars, maybe we'll, whatever we're going to do, you know, and then you might have one of those people that's close, super close, that you're close to 100%, you know, they're there. Right. And that's what I kind of went through there. And now I'm going through something completely different. And I feel like my life moving around the country by myself, right? We moved to all these states, and my husband worked for 16 to 18 hours a day. So I was alone in a new state with no friends, no family, by myself. And sometimes, and I think as I did those moves, right? And as I did that, I prepared myself along the way. You know what I mean? And I think now that I'm going through this at this age and this stage, I feel like I prepared myself because the preparation was more or less handed to me from the move to Arizona and throughout the whole country where I've lived. Right. So I think that prepared me. My situational experiences prepared me for this. Right. But I think that the perception, for me, I feel very clear with, you know, what's happening, but we talk about what we talked about last night was like this, your tribe, right? We talk about your tribe, and that is another chapter in my book. And so I've learned all these things along the way, right? So my tribe of people is very small, you know, and I'm clear on who they are, you know, and sometimes I think with changes, those, you know, the friendships change. Right? Friendships change with situations.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, that's just a guarantee. You know, whoever you have in your circle at whatever stage you are in your life, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and so on. Yes, there are going to be those who are remaining in your circle. Very few though. That's very odd. It's very rare that someone's going to follow you through all those different changes in your life, but it does happen, right? You know, you do have that like one person. Like I know I for myself can speak on that because, you know, my my bestie, I mean, I don't even know. I've lost count. It's been 35, maybe 35 years now. I haven't missed a beat in each other's lives. Like we've been through it all together, you know. We've been through cancer together. We've been through, childbirth, grieving, losing family members, heartbreaks, everything you can imagine, good, bad, and indifferent. We've been there. Um, holding each other, wiping each other's tears. And that's a blessing to have that. But it's also a blessing when you have others, in your circle that serve a certain type, I feel, purpose. I always feel that people that are in your life, it's not a coincidence that they're there. There's no coincidence why there's an attraction, law of attraction. I know if you are attracted to energetic people, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get energetic people. If you're a negative Nelly and you're always, talking negative shit and all of that, guess what you're going to attract? The same thing. Right. So I do believe, to your point about those different stages, and how
and recognizing that's recognizing who is there and who they are as a person. Because when I moved to Arizona, right, I was looking for the friends that I grew up with, because I grew up with people that I was really close to and I could trust 100%. And when I moved, you don't have that when you're somewhere else, right? And I was looking, I thought that's what I needed. That's what I needed because that's what I always had. And what I didn't realize is that isn't what I needed. What I need, I have those people still. They didn't go anywhere. They're just on the phone. Right. And I didn't lose those people, even though we're going through different stages in our lives. And even though there may be a season where we separate, like, I know that, I had one of my friends went through her divorce, and it was hard for me to go through that with her. And so I backed away, I backed away, and she leaned on someone else that she was closer to at the time. And it happened the way it happened, but there's no anger, animosity. There's nothing there between us, but there was some things that I just couldn't handle with it. Right. So our relationship changed during that season. And now our relationship is back to where it was before that season.
And I think it's okay, in my opinion, not to be able to be there for someone if you're not in that capacity. I think
if
sometimes
you can't help. Yes.
Right. I feel like if you can't relate to the person, how am I really serving you in that moment, in that time?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with scaling back. Sometimes when people scale back and, others may, interpret it as, oh, I haven't heard from Andrea, some friend
she's
she
an
is.
asshole.
Right. However, instead of looking at it as, it's likely she just doesn't know how to engage with me in this stage of where I'm at now.
Right. And we don't think about that.
No, we don't. We think about first.
Because we get emotional.
We think about, us, like our own theory and our own perception, because immediately we think of ourselves first, really. That's really like.
And if you're going, let's just be clear though, if you're going through something, you're emotional. So you're not in a state to even think logically.
Correct. And I think that, there's so many things to that. I mean, there's people that will open up when they're going through whatever they're going through. And then if somebody is not responding in the way they maybe they want to hear something, some validation, and they're not getting it, they're going to get upset. Right. Then there's situations where people don't share anything. They don't know nothing about nothing. And then their behaviors slightly change, whether they're irritated and they're upset that nobody's kind of dialing in to say, what's wrong? What's happening? Is everything okay? Right. And they're just holding on to poison, which is not a good thing either. Yeah. So, what's best, I feel, in my experience, is I am a big ambassador of writing down your thoughts. When you are upset, when you are happy, if you just land it on a piece of paper, you already are releasing that
Mhm.
emotion.
And what I've learned,
yeah,
don't release it to other people.
right.
Because once you start releasing your emotions, they take that on. They're
They
taking on
do. They
that
carry it.
pressure.
They
Yeah.
carry it also.
Right. And
And
I've learned that in the
yeah.
last 48 hours. Yeah, I learned that. But yeah, so it's not, there's a place and a time, I guess, to release to other people, but putting it on paper is probably the
And
best
that's what
advice
worked. Yeah.
you could have given me.
I mean, that's what works for me. I mean, I ultimately wind up sharing, if it's, if it's called in my heart to do so. I don't
Mhm.
feel like everything is shareable. I don't feel
Yeah.
that I have to tell you every single thing. I
Yeah.
feel that sometimes we have to muddle through our own things.
Yeah.
And then, when you're in a different space where you can receive, then to say, I've kind of been going through this for ABC, and and the person may react and say, oh my God, why didn't you tell me in that moment? I could have been there for you. Be like, no, I know, but I kind of needed to just process.
Mhm.
And now you're open to receive
Yeah.
whatever that person's able to give you.
Yeah.
When you are in a moment, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whatever that is that brought you into that moment, and you feel like, I just got to, let this out. I mean, just talk it out with whoever you choose to talk it out with.
Mhm.
You may not be very receptive to what they have to say unless they're like, yeah, that's right. You have they're like
Yeah.
on your side. And we have to be
Right.
very,
Yeah.
we have to be very open to the fact that not everybody is going to be, thinking how you think.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, like, for me, learning about myself is the only way that I've been able to connect with people. Once I
Yes.
learned how
Yes. And
I
that's
react,
self mastery right there. Yeah.
yes. Once I know
Yeah.
how I react, my perceptions is the only way I can be there for others. Because if I'm
Yeah.
not doing that internal work in myself and understanding myself, I certainly cannot understand others. So
Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah.
And that's where I feel like I have processed, like, I've done a lot of processing, right, in the last 2 years,
Hmm.
um, 3, maybe even, at this point, because I was in Italy right in 2019. Yeah. So some things really changed for me and hit me when I went there.
And do you
But
feel that,
writing my book, I put all that on paper. I
yeah,
mean,
but
like,
do you feel that things changed for you once you lost your dad too? Do you feel like you were going through another
that was
type of change?
yeah, that was another thing. Yeah, that was a big, that
Yeah, I
was
know.
huge.
I know that.
Huge. But I'm talking about my situation right now, right?
Hmm.
The situation now, I've been processing it for a long time, right? I've been processing. I'm in the right, I'm in the right headspace. I feel like I'm clear. I feel like my decisions are clear. I'm emotional a little bit, but I still feel like I'm clear. And I'm still going to go through a bunch of shit. I know that. But it's not, I mean, but the preparation, I'm always, because I went through what I went through, moving to Arizona across the country by myself with my dog alone, because I had a friend, that I didn't really see. And I was pissed, right? I was pissed at the time because I felt like they were the only person, he was the only one there. And
Mm,
you know what I mean? So I felt like, okay, well, I'm the only one here. Like, you know what I mean? You're the only one there. At least you could acknowledge. I was mad. I went off. And then not only did I went off on him, I didn't talk to him for like 6 months because I was pissed, and I
mm,
still had nobody there at all. And I still thrived. I thrived.
mm, mhm,
I had a good job. I bought a house. I still thrived in that situation, having nobody. And I
mm,
had to process the people that were around me, who was there in what capacity. Right. And I had to process that then at 29 years old, 30 years old, that I went through a lot of that. And it was big for me then. And then I went through a lot of that when my dad died, but the people that I expected to be there when my dad died were there. I didn't have there wasn't anything that changed for me with my circle at that point. I knew
mm,
the people that were going to show up, and they showed
mhm,
up
mhm,
at that point. So by the time my dad passed, yeah, my support system, they were there. They were there
Which
and
is
I knew they were,
great.
because I already had them, right? I already knew.
Right.
I've already went through the whole who's in my circle, who's not in my circle, who's there when they can be, but really their life is more important always. And I'm always going to be shoved to the wayside. Like, I still know if I have somebody like that in my circle, I still know who they are. I just acknowledge that that's the person they are. And I either have to love them for who they are and still they're there for this purpose only. Right.
Yeah.
And I still love them, but they're there for this purpose only.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And some of them I've been friends with for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
And I
just
think
know
I think
when you
also,
know other people, right?
yeah, and I
You
think
have to
also
know.
too, to your point, you can have established friendships and but we're always in different seasons. Every year is a
Yes.
new season in life, period.
Yes.
It's not like every 5 years, every 10 years. Every year you are brought into a new season. And every year you're going to be exposed to new people, new acquaintances, new friendships develop. And whatever
Or old ones or old
or
friendships
right.
come back into your life, and
Yeah.
it makes sense. Because it makes sense because they make you clear on your thoughts sometimes, right? Like they knew
I
you
mean,
they knew you then, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
and I think that happens too. And there's a lot of ebbing and flowing, right? When it
Yes.
comes to your circle and throughout your life, right? And through the
Yeah.
years.
I mean, I think for me, I really love this topic because I think for me, you know, um, I've noticed what my circle looked like the minute my mother got sick with her dementia,
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's, whatever. It's probably moving to Alzheimer's at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's those who are going to stay consistent, and there are those
Mm-hmm.
who are not, and that's okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just embrace what is in my life in this moment, and
Mm-hmm.
I know that whoever is in my life in this present time is required to be there in my
Right.
life, and vice versa. I'm required to be
Mm-hmm.
there for them.
Right.
And I find that the smaller my circle gets, the better it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think less is more. I'm a big,
Mm-hmm.
big believer in that on all fronts.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful. I mean, I'm grateful
Yeah.
for you know, the different experiences I've had with different people that have phased
Yeah.
in and out for that
Mm-hmm.
matter. And I'm okay with that. I mean, there was a time, and again, and this comes with maturity and this comes with the work
Mm-hmm.
that you do within yourself. If you're
Right.
not mature and you're not working on yourself, you're gonna go always
Right.
the other way. You're
Right.
gonna be irritated, angry,
Right.
victim
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. Why
Yeah.
me? Here's another one
Right.
that screwed me over. Oh, I
Right.
can't trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if you got to work on you.
Yeah.
And when you work on you, all that stuff falls away. You
Right.
get the
Right.
right people, the grounded people,
Right.
the people who have integrity, people who
Right.
have energy, all the things that you love, whatever qualities that you are in love with, that is what you will
Yeah.
attract and keep around. And so I
Well, and
think,
I have to say too, when we say, when we sit here and talk about our tribe and our circle,
yeah,
it's not either like a yes. And I talk a lot about you're either in my circle or out of my circle, right? What I mean by that though, is that when you're in my circle, in the close circle, right? The close circle.
this reminds me of the Fockers movie when Robert De Niro's like the circle.
The circle of trust,
The
right?
circle of
The circle of trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
I mean, but what I have to say though is in the circle, that circle, in that circle of trust of yours, right?
Yes.
There is when you look at the circle, okay, there's still people that are outside of the circle that
Yeah.
are acquaintances, and that's where they live. They plant their asses there. That's where they're at in your life. That's where it is what it is. They're still not bad people. They're still not, they're just not in your close circle, right? They're not in,
Right.
there's not in and out. There is a gray area. The bullseye is where all your peeps hang out. And then your circle gets a little bit out there, right? And there are still people in those categories, right? That are, like I said, there's still somebody that is not, they're not looking to hurt you. They're not looking to come at you. I mean, so now some are, and those people are way the fuck out there, but they're out in the fucking universe. But
way the fuck out of the circle.
Right. They're way the fuck out there. But I think that there's still people that they care about you, right? But they care about themselves maybe. And they're just not, they're not that close. And it's okay to have your close 5, 6 on your hand. And then, okay, you have some acquaintances that are kind of out there outside the circle hanging out, and it's fine, right? That's perfectly okay. Just keep those other motherfuckers way the fuck out there so that they don't destroy you, right? And you don't bring in all that negative shit, and you don't have to deal with the drama and chaos, right? That they're going to bring into your life. Just keep them way the fuck out there.
Sister. Preach. Preach. Yes. You are speaking my love language, sister. All day, every day. No, I love that. And sometimes we have to have those reflections. We have to reflect. Who am they always say you are how's the phrase? Let me say it right. The 5 people that you surround yourself with the most, you are who you surround yourself with. I know it's all twisted and convoluted, but you get the message. The point is, if you associate yourself with people who want more out of life, who are energetic, and really who are good people, good souls. It's just not about the energy and success and all that. That's beautiful that, folks have that. That's a beautiful thing, but it's what's in their heart that's even more like,
right.
Like that's what you want. Love filled and good people, who may not talk to you all the time, but in any event that that, hey, listen, I got to talk to you, you got a minute, that they'll be like, no problem. I'm here for you. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Doesn't have to be like, somebody next to you all the time,
They might, the person might not be in your close circle, or maybe they haven't been for years, and all of a sudden they're there for a time that is needed, and then beyond. It just, I think things change, seasons of life, things
all
change
all the time.
And I'll tell you, this is in my book, but I'm going to expose it right now. But and talking about, you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. Years ago, my father was, and I didn't understand what he was saying then. I looked at him like he got 12 heads. But at the time I was in college, and he said to me, look out that window. And I thought, what the fuck? Okay. So it's dark out. What am I looking at? Right? It's dark. The lights on in the house. He wants me to look out the window, right? Look out the window. I said, what? What do you see? I said, dark. Darkness, the night. I don't know. And he's like, when you look out that window and you see a bunch of dogs sitting there, do you see a cat sitting in the middle? I was like, huh? And I looked at him, I go, no, like, no. I guess the dogs would chase the cat. I don't know. Like, I didn't know how to answer that. Right. And he was like, no, he's like, because you're not everyone, if you have a bunch of dogs sitting there, you're not going to have one person that's different than the rest hanging out with all the people that are the same. It's not going to happen. And so I thought, so the way he was like explaining to me and my girlfriend at the time, it was like, if you look out that window and you see a bunch of dogs, did you see a cat sitting in the middle? I was like, no.
You don't see someone who's out of place.
Right. You see the people that you surround yourself with are like you. They're typically like you because you surround yourself with them. Right. And you attract, like you said earlier, the people that are like-minded, even like-minded,
yes.
Not just emotionally or whatever the case may be, or geographically or whatever. It's just it's more or less, it's in tune to you. Right. And some people maybe, just more in tune because they went through something, right? That they, where they can help you and they can talk you through some things.
I always say experience is the best teacher.
It is.
It really is. That's what's going to teach you in life, is the experience, so.
It is. It's true. And the people that have gone through shit. Yeah. I mean,
absolutely.
If they're there to help you, walk you through, talk you through, even if you already, and this is another thing, even if you feel like you got it together, right? Even if you feel like you got it together, there's always that one person that's like, listen, you don't have it together. I got you, but you don't have it. Things are going to happen. Changes are going to occur. And
Mhm.
that is reality. And that was the reality in my face yesterday.
Mm.
Even though I've prepared myself, even though I think I'm prepared, I just may not be, but I still, I may not be. You're going to go through shit and I got you. And that's all, it is what it is,
Mhm.
So
I love that.
yeah. I
Wow.
got you. I got you. I got you.
Yes, I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
I know you do.
Yes. Yes. Well, this was such a great discussion to kick off on a Wednesday morning. Thank you for bringing that, you know, to the table. I think it's just so important to have these kind of conversations. I'm
Yeah.
sure it resonates with many, many people who will be listening to this segment. So we still have more to talk about, right? You dropped some
Mhm.
things that were like, okay, huh? What? So we'll save
Yeah.
that for another time. But I want to
Yeah.
thank you for hanging out with me, Andrew, as always. It's
Thank
always great to start my
you.
mornings with you. I wish it could be every day.
Amen. Me
But
too.
I am thankful for today and thankful for you and thankful for us. So remember, everyone, you're listening to Webb's Women.
Where exposure brings strength.